Hey everyone, this is Nic LaRue from FilmSnobbery. I'm here at Panic Fest down in Kansas City. It's a long haul from Boston, and but I'm down here in the basement, the dark little basement that reminds me so much of my childhood. This is fantastic. I'm here. I'm doing interviews with filmmakers, and I'm here with a particularly scrappy young man. Who am I here with?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ramone Menon. I am the writer, director, and producer of My Scary Indian Wedding. It played at Panic Fest in the Shorts Block 2, 11:30 a.m. on the Saturday. I forget the date. I hope it's April 6th. Yes.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
April 6th. Yes. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to me, even though most people say no to talking to me.
I can understand. I mean, you were such a solemn and quiet young man, and you keep to yourself. I saw you over in a corner by yourself, and I was like, I think I need to befriend this young street urchin filmmaker. So he at least has one festival buddy. No, but no. If you see if you're a filmmaker here at the festival and you run into Ramone, he is a spitfire, and he makes you feel like he's been your best friend for the last 6 years. So he's a good guy. Tell us a little bit about my Scary Indian Wedding.
I wanted to make a searing documentary about my days moonlighting as a child bride in India. And I went to my cinematographer with this idea and said, hey, let's make this documentary and let's call it My Scary Indian Wedding. And he said, who the fuck would want to see that? So we changed the story but kept the title, and here we are. Well, but in all honesty, the movie is about a cursed bridesmaid that has to track down and marry her soulmate in order to get rid of this demon that's following her because she's cursed. And it's the best elevator pitch would be it follows with brown people. And the way I came up with the idea was when I was really young, I went to my cousin's friend's wedding in India. And, I'm from India, and if you could see me, you'd be able to tell from the color of the skin. And so when I went to this wedding, we showed up a little bit early. We showed up about half an hour earlier, which is very rare for Indian people. We're late as fuck most of the time. They call it IST, Indian Standard Time. We fucking take forever. So us showing up half an hour early was a miracle. So when we showed up half an hour earlier, it was like 6:30 in the morning because Indians like these early morning weddings. It's something that should be done away with, but they do it. And in the corner, far away, when I showed up at the venue, I said, hey, there's the bride, and why is she standing next to this tree, and they're doing like this weird, like culty-looking ceremony. I was like, what the fuck is going on over there? And then my mother said, oh, they're doing that because she's a Munglik. I'm like, what the fuck is a Munglik? They said, a Munglik is a woman that's born on a certain day at a certain time, so they have an astrological star that's apparently cursed, and if that person marries someone, it brings bad luck to their future groom and the groom's family. So in order to get rid of the curse, they make the woman, the cursed Munglik woman, marry an inanimate object. Could be a tree, could be a cow, could be a bottle of beer. They have the wedding, they have a goddamn divorce, and then she gets to marry the guy. And this all takes place like a little before the wedding, so the curse is lifted, so to speak. It's a social stigma that was fucking ridiculous, but it still goes on. And when I saw that as a kid, I said, that's a fucking horror movie right there. So now when I was decided like last year when I wanted to make a horror movie with brown people in it, I was like, you know what, let's do the tree wedding thing. I think it's time to bring that idea out. So here we are with My Scary Indian Wedding, and we talk about social stigmas and it's innate reverse racism, and it's all there, but we don't really bring it to the surface. I just kind of do it in this whole Sam Raimi drag me to hell style.
One of the things I really thought was interesting about it, aside from just like, and I was going to ask you the question of like, how much of the lore of the story was based out of Indian culture and stuff like that. And motherfucker, like, I thought Christianity was fucked up. This is also some fucked up shit. I love it. So But one of the things that I thought was interesting to use as a narrative device to kind of convey the different things is you use technology. You know, she's carrying around a phone. She's got an app, and the app is basically telling her, counting down, like, shit's going to get real if you don't, if you don't start playing along pretty quick. Where did that kind of aspect of it come from within the story as you were developing it? Was this something where, like, as you were writing the script, you were like, oh, I want to have this thing as like almost like a narrator type of situation, or was this as you were getting ready to shoot or something like that, and you were like, it's missing an element, or like, or maybe as you were getting feedback, someone might have been like, yeah, well, I don't understand why she's doing this, like, who's telling her, if it's just the other woman, the one who's getting married, that her friend there, if that's the situation, where did that come from?
So it came from, like, trying to be as visual as possible in the story, because usually we're used to the whole, say in Evil Dead, you have the Necronomicon, and I said, let's do the smart Necronomicon, because, I mean, I was thinking, in this movie, when you watch it, this girl's running around, she's holding a sack, she's running around doing all this weird, these like, rituals, and I'm like, on top of holding the sack, doing these rituals, she's going to be carrying around this goddamn book. I was like, no, you need something small that's going to help you still kind of it's going to guide her to do the rituals. This way we get a narrator to tell her about the ritual, so it's more, so we hear it, and then we also wanted to do the motion graphics where it pops up. So instead of like doing a reverse shot where we cut to her face reading the book and cut to a shot of the book, we have both going on at the same time. So it's about economy of storytelling, and it's like, so we see it all, and yet it looks visually interesting. It's like, I feel people underestimate the power of text on screen, how much that can do. There was this very famous Stanley Kubrick quote that he was talking about where when he said the power of silent film is that in a normal everyday movie, if, say, he's talking about Billy's, he has to show Billy has an uncle, you have to show a shot of Billy sitting on the table and his uncle, and he has to give him something that's indicative of that's his uncle. But in a silent film, you just open up with a title card that says Billy's uncle, and then Billy's sitting next to his uncle, and that's economy of storytelling right there. So that quote stuck with me, and I was like, let's try to do that, but let's do it in a different modern way where it's not silent cinema, but it's that same story structure, it's the same techniques of silent cinema.
Now, you're over in some of my old stomping grounds over in Los Angeles. Is that also where you kind of filmed everything and cast everything and all that?
Yes, we filmed and cast everything in L.A. We shot in a property in Simi Valley, so that whole thing takes place in one property. We just wanted to be as efficient as possible and find a place that has all the elements that we wanted, the outside, the inside. And most of our cast is from L.A. There's Patrick Rutnam, who's a great actor and a friend of mine. He's the lead in it. There's Alexa Gluck, who plays the other girl, Mila, and they're both from L.A. And there's Misha Milani, who's our lead. She was living in New York at the time, but she sent this amazing audition tape. And I was like, that's the girl right there. She's fantastic, and I think we need to cast her. And so we flew her down. That was the only person that wasn't in L.A. So, but I'm so glad because she carries the movie in such a great way. And then even the shout out to our actor who plays the Manglik, which is Ana Chavez. She's done another movie with me before, so she always plays the demons. And you'd never think by seeing her face that in real life that she could play a demon, but she looks great in real life. But and she's great as the demon as well. She plays the Manglik, and most of the people are all L.A. based. The cast and the crew is L.A. based, and we use the same team. We made a movie a couple of years ago called The Pay that also played at Panic Fest, and that's pretty much the same crew except for the cast.
What now? So you've established this is not your first go around in terms of filmmaking, nor the film festival circuit. What are some of the things that you look for when you are submitting to festivals in general? Like, do you consider like attendance? Do you consider location? Do you consider premiere status? Any of the other kind of things? What is kind of like your festival strategy when you kind of burst onto the scene with something new?
I honestly because I make primarily like horror and genre stuff, so I'm trying to maintain going to places that other genre filmmakers or genre fans are excited about, no matter the size, if it's small, big. I mean, there's great festivals like Nevermore, which I think is one of the best kept secrets on the festival circuit. There's Film Quest, which I'm a big fan of. It's like rock and roll for cinema. And of course the great Panic Fest, which I am a huge fan of. I feel like quality of screenings, first of all, the theater itself, the quality of the sound, because it's horror, so you have to have good sound. Just the audience turnout. It doesn't matter how small or big, but I feel like that's a big part of the excitement of, you want people who are excited to see these type of films. And then I also look at, just the uniqueness of the place where it is, like Kansas City. Amazing, unique. There's places like Provo, Utah for Film Quest. There's Salem Horror. So it's it's also the location of some of these things. And I feel like even Nevermore with Durham in North Carolina, like I feel like a combination of all of this really makes it. But honestly, I feel it's the people who attend. It's either the filmmakers or the film goers. I feel like that makes a big difference. And of course, the festival directors and the people who run the festival and who are around, because these festivals take so much. Yeah, like the fact that you're here supporting, it's a big part of the festival. Like the reviewers, the supporters who are here for years, like I feel like that makes a big difference. So even when you show up the first time, you don't know what to expect, but then you're like, I would make a movie just to come back here. And Panic Fest is 100% one of that, and we meet charming motherfuckers like you, and I feel like, we want to keep it going somehow. We make another movie.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully you do make another movie. I really enjoyed this. I mean, it was, it's interesting to see kind of like cultural influence on stuff like that, and like you said, kind of the reverse kind of race kind of aspects of it and stuff like that. I love the humor. I absolutely got the Sam Raimi vibes from it. That Dragged Me to Hell, Evil Dead-ish kind of situation. The Munglik. I got to ask about your makeup effects and stuff like that, and your overall kind of stuff. Like there's a fantastic, not to spoil things for people, there's a great severed head scene. I would love for you to give a shout out to your, whoever helps you with all the special effects and stuff like that, but also, tell me a little bit about like the complications, if any, of that process.
Yes, in terms of the Munglik, the demon side of things, the character is played by Ana Chavez, and she's excellent. So a lot of the scares come from just how her expressions are, and she practices it, and she's excellent, and she gets right into character. She comes and does the makeup tests, no fuss, no bother when we keep jumping around trying to switch it up. And we realize sometimes simple is best, because I made this movie called The Pay that I was talking about. We had a giant bat suit. It was about a giant fucking bat and that. And then in this one, I was just like, I just want to be scary, hit the uncanny level. So that's what I told my special effects artist, Robert Bravo. He's the man. This man can put this monster together for something less than your monthly cell phone bill. And I feel like we really lent into this whole idea of keeping it simple. I'm a big fan of movies like The Ring, The Grudge. So I mean, I'm technically Asian, so I come from that part of the world. So I like that kind of style. So I thought, it has to feel like this person could exist, but just something that's just off enough, like the eyes, the smile, the look. And we want, because it's based on there's this character in India called the Mohini Pisasi. So, and that used to scare me as a kid. So now I was like, I'm going to do my version of that. So the Munglik is a made-up character. Like it's a social stigma in India, but I wanted to personify that as a character. And so the Munglik has been personified as this scary-ass bitch who we put into this. And we made sure that she's got this like gray outfit. I'm a big fan of this old Japanese movie called Onibaba.
I was just going to talk about that.
Yeah. And so I was like, I want to do my little Onibaba thing, and that mixed with this Indian folklore. I mean, honestly, there's no Indian actual folklore about the Munglik, but it comes from this Mohini Pisasi mixed with Onibaba. And we put that together, and we're like, let's make this pale-ass, scary crazy woman that pops up out of nowhere, and that's basically like our It Follows demon. And big shout out again to Robert Bravo for doing it. And then the only VFX we have in it are the eyes. We accentuated the eyes just to make that pop out. And the motion graphics were done by this guy named Varun in Bangalore. He's great. If you're out there, definitely use him. And I feel like overall, this is purely teamwork. It's trial and error, and we figure it out.
Well, no, I mean, you're saying all the right things to me, sir. You know, you're hitting me with all the influences from The Ring and the Oni Baba stuff and all that. I mean, and that was stuff I definitely caught, and I was really excited, as I was watching it, to catch all the kind of different influences. It's weird because over here in the States, like certain things will float over. Like we get, you'll see Swedish horror, you'll see Belgian horror, French horror, Japanese and Chinese horror and stuff like that all the time. And I'm always surprised that with like Bollywood being as large as it is, that we don't see as much Indian horror out there. And I'm not going to at all stereotype and say, well, you must know about that. But do you know about any of that?
Well, I do, and I'm also slightly disappointed with the Indian horror. There are few and far between. There are some great ones. I mean, there's a movie called Tumbad, which is like the Indian witch. That is fantastic. And there was this other movie called Pizza, which you'll never guess the ending of that movie. It hits you like a sledgehammer. It's a Tamil film. It's excellent. It's Pizza. You got to watch it. It's a haunted house movie, but in like you'll never know where it's going. And there's this other one called the English title is The House Next Door. Sounds very Fulci, but it's an excellent. That movie scared me. But other than these three, I think there was a Marathi movie. I forgot the title. It started with an L, but. Other than these 3 or 4 movies, there's not much. And I feel like for a country that has some of the scariest folklore, it has terrifying folklore, there's not enough. And by me even saying this, I'm like, this is a rallying call to all you motherfuckers, Indian motherfuckers out there. Get and make some scary fucking shit, because I know you can. And I hope to be a part of it in some small way as well. There's so much potential in Indian horror, and it's coming. I think it's coming, but it's few and far between right now.
No, man, I appreciate that, because, I mean, I would love to have opportunities to interview more folks like yourself, that are, expressing kind of those cultural things, from their childhoods and stuff like that, because I love a lot of stories I have with filmmakers of all types. Where they're like, I had a story from my childhood that scared me so bad that this is now what I do for a living. And, and I think that goes beyond any sort of like a skin color thing or borders or anything like that. Everyone's got a story like that to tell, and I would love to see more on the Indian side of that, because it's such a rich and cultural history, and like you said, the mythology is like, and religious stuff is just fucked up. It's as good / bad as anyone else's. So it's great stuff, man. I appreciate you coming down and talking with me, and taking some time to even put me in some photos on the red carpet, I look forward to seeing what's next.
Handsome motherfuckers always make it in these goddamn photos.
Damn straight. All right, man. Well, I am now finished with you. I release you into the world. Have a good day.
Off I go into my Mongolic world.